Welcome to Teaching Tips. I'm your host, Dr. Twianie Roberts. Today on Teaching Tips, we'll be examining kinesthetic learners. Within our worlds, communities, and churches, we see a variety of different types of learning styles. People learn in a variety of ways. Some individuals are visual learners. They prefer to learn by seeing, while others are auditory. They prefer to listen and speak. Today, on Teaching Tips, we're going to be focusing in on kinesthetic learners. These are learners that prefer to learn by doing and also prefer a hands-on approach. In Jeremiah chapter 18, the Lord instructs Jeremiah to go down to the potter's house. The word says that in verse 3, that he went down to the potter's house, and behold, he wrought a work on the wheels. And the vessel that he made of clay was marred in the hand of the potter. So he made it again another vessel, and it seemed good to the potter to make it. Then the word of the Lord came to me, saying, O house of Israel, cannot I do with you as this potter, saith the Lord? Behold, as the clay is in the potter's hand, so are ye in mine hand, O house of Israel. Here we see the Lord instructing the prophet Jeremiah. Not only does Jeremiah see a lesson that has some visual applications, but also some kinesthetic applications. For it is the potter who is making and molding the clay with his hands. And we learn from the Lord that this is a reference to the Lord making and remolding us as he sees fit. Kinesthetic. A kinesthetic dominant learner prefers a physical experience. They prefer a hands-on approach to learning, and they respond well when teachers bring in objects that they can touch or feel. When the Lord sent Jeremiah down to the potter's house, we see not just Jeremiah being able to see the lesson, but there's also something that is occurring with respect to the actual potter, because the potter then is remaking or remolding the clay, just as the Lord remakes and remolds us within the kingdom. Tip 1 for kinesthetic learners: include experiences in your lessons that allow students to move or to do. We typically begin our Sunday school lessons with the reading of the Word. Understanding the Word is the basis for the foundation of what we are going to be teaching on that day. A prior Sunday school lesson that we had on September 6, 2015 was entitled Praying for One Another. Within this particular lesson aim number 3 was to ask God in bold prayers to empower their mission and ministry. As we look at that particular lesson or any of our Sunday school lessons, oftentimes our lesson aims will give us the opportunity for either hands-on or a kinesthetic and get up and move type of experience. Because this particular lesson, aim number 3, says to ask God in bold prayers. To ask God in bold prayers opens the door of the opportunity for students to get up out of their seats, to move, possibly drop to their knees, or to stand and lift their hands in prayer and boldly ask God in prayer to empower their mission and their ministry. Kinesthetic learners, they learn quickly and permanently what they do. These are individuals who learn by doing. Some individuals learn very quickly once they're told. Kinesthetic learners, after being told, need to be actively involved in the learning process. Tip 2 for kinesthetic learners: use skits for learning concepts. This includes role playing. This includes acting out with plays. It also can include things like news briefs, news reports, activities that require students to get up and do, to be actively engaged. This includes also performances within your churches. Tip 3 for kinesthetic learners: hands-on work. Allow the kinesthetic learner, allow those that appreciate, that enjoy a hands-on experience to actively get hands-on with the work. This may involve painting, drawing, creating, arts and crafts, which leads us to a component of kinesthetic learning, which involves tactile. Tactile means to touch. Tactile learners are closely related to kinesthetic learners. They primarily learn through the sense of touch. So as they are reading the Word of God, they enjoy experiencing the Word of God. So tip number 3, for the tactile learners, they enjoy hands-on experiences. To incorporate hands-on experiences in our lesson, the Bible oftentimes talks about wheat, whether it's the wheat or the tare, or if it's talking about the harvest. With the tactile learner, they appreciate when objects such as wheat are brought to class. Not only are they allowed to see what the word is referring to, but they can then touch and experience also. In a lesson on the book of Jonah, where Jonah has the experience with the gourd, and he cares more about the gourd and the vine than he does the people. Bring in a gourd to class so that students can see. It solidifies in the tactile kinesthetic learner's brain. This is what this particular person cared about even more than the Ninevites. This is what he had more care and concern for than people. It solidifies they're able to see. And then other discussions open up. Discussions such as, do we care more sometimes about things than we do about people? For kinesthetic learners also, experiencing objects such as clay, seeing how clay is then molded in the learner's hand, just as we are molded in the hands of the Lord. Teaching tip number 4, look to the lesson aim for to-do activities. Our lesson aim gives us our purpose, our desired outcome. It is our target. As we're going forth with our lessons, we have to remember that we're addressing not just visual, but auditory and kinesthetic tactile learners also. When we look at our lesson aim, for example, in a lesson entitled A Wedding in Cana from January 24th of 2016, a portion of the lesson aim stated, practice ways in which learners can demonstrate hospitality. This is an excellent opportunity for your students to get up and to actually perform a skit, a play, or a demonstration in which they are practicing ways to demonstrate hospitality. In another lesson from April 10th of 2016, entitled A Reversal of Shame, a portion of the lesson aim states, forgive others for their failures, shortcomings, and hurtful actions. This is another opportunity for students to get up and to role play, to have discussions, to actually act out. And what would they act out? Showing and demonstrating the forgiveness of others for their failures, shortcomings, and hurtful actions. And finally, with a lesson entitled Assurances and Joy for the Faithful from June 19th, 2016. The lesson aim states, pray for one another and ourselves for God's presence and involvement in our lives. This is an excellent opportunity for us to have a prayer clinic, praying for one another, actually getting up and being actively involved in our lesson aim. And that is praying for others and ourselves for God's presence in our lives and in the lives of others. Kinesthetic learners learn best by getting up, doing, and being involved in the lesson. We have to remember that as teachers, our classes are oftentimes composed of not just individuals that learn by seeing and learn by talking, but they also learn by doing. Let's review our teaching tips on today. Tip 1. Include experiences in your lesson. Allow your students to get up, move, and to do. Tip number 2. Use skits or acting out as a tool for learning concepts. Tip number 3. Incorporate tactile or hands-on experiences. This may include bringing in objects such as wheat with a lesson on the wheat and the tare, or gourd with Jonah's gourd vine, or clay in a lesson related to Jeremiah chapter 18, where the Lord is speaking to Jeremiah and instructing him regarding the potter. Oh, I pray that these teaching tips have been a blessing for you on today. To purchase the books associated with the teaching tips, go to www.walkintheword.com/store. Be richly blessed.